Hello, Internet. Captain RedBeard back. Um, Finished up the build of the Triple Dom, or the Black Tri-Stars version, as some people may know it. Um, Figured I'd give a quick little review now that it's done. Give you my likes, my dislikes of it. I love the build in general, but there was a few things that um, I didn't like, or just needed a little bit more TLC, things like that. Let's get zoomed down to them real quick. I got the box we'll use as a display stand, and let's get them up there. Now, as you can see here, as I talked about in the unboxing, I got them on their own display stand, so they can show off their triple stream attack. And that actually is where one of my pet peeves comes into place. The stand itself is nice for the gimmick because, how else could you get a very good pose like that where they're all in line and sync together? But the parts of the stand just did not want to cooperate. They kept wanting to come off, and I did something I didn't really want to do with the stand in case I wanted to move it around and play with the different poses. So I did end up gluing the stand together so that it is now and forever in this configuration. The spots that I ended up having to glue was down here at the bottom where it actually connects the arms to the base, because if you were to slide it around, bump the table, bump the shelf, whatever you have it on, they would eventually slide back and of course topple over. The second part is on this front guy here. There's a round part that has a couple tooth notches, so you can kind of change his angle forward or backwards a little bit. Same thing, any kind of little bumps, and he shakes back and forth, and it would separate and fall out to the right here, making him fall very easily. Other than that, really, the kit itself, as far as the three individual models, pretty standard as far as high-grade kits go, but I just had a lot of fun building them. It's different from building one model to trying to do three at the same time. Then again, it can be very frustrating as well, because if you get into the flow and you miss something on one part, you're going to miss it on all three of them. Even myself, yesterday when I was building them, I came back, was getting ready to put the heads on, and on all three models, I forgot to put the poly cap into the chest area that would support the head. So all three of them I had to crack back open, put the poly caps back in, pop it back together to be able to mount the heads on each and every single one of them. So, it happens. You're going to, forget things. You're going to make mistakes. Myself, I make them quite often, still being somewhat novice. Things that I do like about the kit is that you can kind of personalize each individual one, especially because they do have this special posing. Like this one, he's kind of the leader. He's got his own markings. He's the, I think, number 25. He's got his own heat rod, which is like a baby blue, pastel blue kind of collar. I don't know the specific reasoning behind his collaring, but the other ones have a yellow heat rod sword. So that's kind of neat that he has his own customized effect. On the second one, he's got the bazooka currently. Now, it did come with parts to make a bazooka for all three of them. But, I mean, right now, especially because I'm going to be keeping them in this triple stream pose probably for quite a while, I didn't see the need of building the other bazookas at this moment because, well, I'll probably use them for other models down the line. Maybe when I try my hand at doing some kit bashings, you know, throwing a few things in together, I'll have some extra weapons to do so. And then the other little gimmick that I thought was neat with this one is that it came with some specific hands for the third fella. I'll pop them off of here. What it is I mean, they can't separate because if they did, you'd never be able to make them do this pose. But it's basically like if you were interlocking your own hands to do an overhead smash. So I thought that was really neat and really unique to this kit itself because I don't think I've seen that with any other kit in my time of building. The other thing I really like, which with this pose doesn't go that well with it, but to show it off I wanted to put it on there anyways, is the clear muzzle shot of the bazooka. Makes it look like a big old smoke stream coming off of the rocket as he shoots it, which I mean this just makes it look like he's shooting the ground in front of him. But that's also due to the pose itself, just because he's got the one hand on the trigger, the one hand on the side mount, and with these big weapons I can never seem to get those to work well and how I want them to anyways, but I think the end effect ended up doing pretty well. I didn't get it perfect, but it's hard to get perfect. Let's go ahead. I'm going to take the triple stream down, take the leader off of the stand here to do a little bit of comparison to some other model kits, show off a few things that I thought was really neat, and go over a little bit of the articulation. So one thing I wanted to do for maybe friends and families that's not familiar with the Gundam lines is to kind of give a few things to give as a comparison so that people go, well, you know, RedBeard, how big are these things? Are they large? Are they small? And the first thing that I'll put up here is something that I'm sure just about anybody watching this is familiar with, a can of Mountain Dew. I mean, he is just a little bit taller than it. At his legs, he's about as wide as it, but midsection and everything like that, he is a little bit skinnier than the can itself. For some of my other fans who are collectors or connoisseurs of the pop vinyls, that'll give you a little bit of an idea of how he would compare on the shelf next to, say, your other collections. So he is a little bit shorter than him. I think they look actually kind of neat sitting there beside each other. When I get one of my new shelves up, I may have a little bit of a mix of pop vinyls and Gundam figures on it, along with some of my other vinyl Dragon Ball Z and Green Lantern action figures that I'll be putting up there. Now for the people that are familiar with the Gundam lines, I'll just put up a pretty standard Zaku 2 for comparison. The Dom is a little bit taller than him. He's got about a head length on top of him, which I think even to anime standard is kind of standard for him. And of course a little bit bulkier because he does have those large skirted legs, and just in general bulkier in general. But I mean, like I said, per the anime, I think that was actually pretty accurate. And as I mentioned before, I am not a professional builder, so even like when I start showing off the articulation, you may see some of the nub marks, some of the seam lines, which eventually I am going to start trying to teach myself how to, you know, hide the nub marks, fill in the seam lines so they're not visible. But that'll probably come along with when I start getting more in-depth painting as well. As you can see on the Zaku 2, I did just a little bit of basic painting on his heat hawk there. And then his gun, I was just playing around with some gunmetal paint that I had just to give it a little bit of a touch instead of being the bluish gray color that they already had it in. But let's get some of the articulation. The arms, see the hands are all in just little ball joints. They can of course turn around as much as you want and do this. Now as I mentioned with the other guy with the bazooka, when he has that closed hand, the big problem I had, and I actually had to glue both of his hands closed, was that every time I'd try to get him in the right pose, the hand would pop off and not keep holding. So I did glue those in. Or when I was trying to get it just in the right spot, it'd pop off. But I mean, that is kind of standard just because they don't have a lot of hold in general, which is okay, but I mean, when you're trying to pose a two-handed weapon, it does make it a little bit hard. The arms can, of course, go all the way around. You got a single elbow joint here. You can do about a 90-degree. The shoulder pad is somewhat independent. It's just kind of on a peg in there. It doesn't necessarily stay where you want it all the time, but it does move a little bit independent, so it doesn't take away from the arm movement as much. The legs, there's actually quite a bit of movements in the feet for having these large skirted legs. I mean, see there, you can even get his leg all the way out like that. I wouldn't know why you would want to necessarily, but you can. The skirts, pretty standard. Let's see. His legs, because of his skirts, can only go up to about there. He's just got a single joint in the knee, so he can do a little bit more than a 90-degree. But then because the back skirt is not movable, it does stop the leg right about there. Now that's just on a standard ball joint in the hip. They do move back and forth a little bit, so you can get a little extra posability out of them. But I mean, pretty decent for being a high grade. His hips, he's got just very little movement back and forth there. Not a lot of left and right action. And in the head, he's got very little to no articulation. He's got a little bit of back and forth, a little bit of up and down. The thing that I was happy about, let me take this off camera for a second, is that you can take the face plate off of there and you can move their eyes left, right. You can take it up so that you can put them in different eye positions for, you know, whatever way they may be looking, which I was kind of concerned about because I'd seen some reviews of other Dom sets where it was just fixated. It was a sticker and you couldn't move it. So I was really happy that it did have the articulation in the eyes. Speaking of stickers, let's go to that next. The stickers on this one, I can't say that I was happy or unhappy about, because let's face it, I mean, nobody really likes stickers. I liked this one just because it did have very few, and since it is a triple set, it helps identify them a little bit more. There's really only, there's one sticker for the eye to make it that pink color. There's the shoulder insignia here. There is, I'm not sure what you would want to call this spot, but a little yellow spot here. And this was one of the stickers that kind of did upset me a little bit. I thought that this one, where they're all kind of a clear sticker set, should have been a solid sticker instead of being see-through, because on the pictures and everything, it's just a very bright and vibrant yellow. But since it's clear, it's kind of picking up some of the gray behind it and just kind of dulling it out. But then from there, you got the Principality of Zeon with his unit number 25. And then on each knee, he's got the 25s as well. And then there's also, I'm assuming, like a warning or caution spot here on the front. Maybe for the cockpit, you know, saying, hey, caution, you know, this can open and hit you. I'm not really sure what the point of that triangle is, but it's there. Few things that I didn't expect with this model was some of the extra detail. So like say in the legs, it's got 3 boosters back there that when they normally have these bigger legs, I mean, I understand that there is detail in the animes, but it's something that you would think that to cut costs, they would just kind of leave out. But I was very happy they didn't. Same with the boosters under the skirt there. He's got 3 large boosters there that do move a little bit. And same with the leg ones, they do have some movement. So, and if you were trying to do like a flying pose or a jump jet pose, you could pose that specifically to how you wanted it. But unless somebody was getting up real close to check it out, they may not even see that. The other thing is just his backpack boosters do a little bit of up and down, and then each one of them has a holster there for their heat rod. I'll use one of them from the other ones to show here, just because I am not taking his hand apart. Just inserts like so. All around, like I said, there was a few qualms with the stand. Few qualms with the hands, mainly if they're holding the bazookas. But overall, it was a very fun build. I was excited to do it. So I'm glad that I did get a chance to pick this one up. And at a relatively decent price. I think on Amazon I got it for $49.99 with Prime shipping. So you gotta think, 3 models, $50. Hey, you can't beat that. That's less than $20 a pop, like normal high grades would be. So if you want to think of it, you get 2 models at kind of a standard price, and then you get the third one half off. I would do the math to see exactly what it would come up to, but screw the math. I hope you like this review. I do want to do more reviews of my other model sets. Heck, maybe even of my pop figures. Maybe my Dragon Ball Z vinyls. I want to do a lot more. If you guys have any suggestions, got any requests, let me know. Give me a shout out. Um, put it in the comments. I'd love to hear back what the community likes to see. If there's anything that I'm doing that may not be liked, give me a heads up. Like I said, in the last video, I am working with kind of limited materials right now, but hopefully maybe in the future I'll be able to have a little bit better of a setup. But I'm happy to do this. This is the second video I've ever done, minus a little bit of streaming here and there. But I'm having fun doing it, and I'm hoping people are liking my videos. This is RedBeard checking out for the day. Internet Nerd Kingdom, I hope you have a great day. And thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share. Get my name out there. I'd love to be a little bit more in touch with the Gunpla and anime scenes out there and make some friends around the world. You have a great day, and thanks for watching.